On Monday, the 51st Paris Air Show got off to a busy start. With the remarkably robust sales of commercial aircraft over the past few years, industry observers had expected this year's show to be less about additional orders and more about execution, about how manufacturers would ensure they could produce aircraft to meet airline demand going forward. Nonetheless, Airbus announced several significant sales, including orders for both single-aisle and wide-body aircraft. The orders for wide-body aircraft underscored the findings of Airbus's latest global market forecast. A decades-long trend toward higher capacity aircraft will continue, both on long-haul flights and in a wide range of regional and domestic sectors. As a result, a requirement for about 9,600 wide-body passenger and freighter aircraft is expected over the next 20 years. That's about $2.7 trillion worth of wide-body aircraft alone. Speaking of wide-bodies, visitors to this year's Paris Air Show have been treated to two magnificent Airbus aircraft on static display, both brought to the show by Airbus customer Qatar Airways. Tours of the interiors, both of the Qatar A380 aircraft and of the airline's brand new A350-900, have proven to be must-sees at this year's show. Of course, the tours and conversations always pause, and eyes are cast skyward when the airplanes begin to fly. Airbus Direct's live coverage from Day 2 of the 51st Paris Air Show begins right now.
Good afternoon from Le Bourget on the outskirts of Paris. My name is Clay McConnell, and I'm joined by my Airbus colleague here, Mike Bowser, and we are here at the 51st Paris Air Show, and we're glad that you've joined us as well. It's a beautiful day to fly. We're getting ready for the flying display. I know that the Airbus test pilots are looking forward to flying on this day. It's sunny. There are a few clouds passing over, nice and fluffy. The photographers are going to love shooting these beautiful aircraft on this beautiful day. In fact, speaking of photographers, those of you who have been sharing your Airbus photos on Instagram and Twitter, we appreciate that. We invite you to continue sharing your photos on Instagram and Twitter with hashtag #WeMakeItFly. Those of us at Airbus will be looking for the very best shots that you share, and we'll then share them with our followers. Mike, I trust you've been having a good day too of the Paris Air Show.
Absolutely. Today's been really fantastic. The weather's beautiful. We've had many visitors today, in fact far more than yesterday, which is already a much better day than we've had in previous shows. A lot of people coming to see the aircraft, both the A350 and the A380 that we have here on display from Qatar Airways.
So tell us about these aircraft we've got on static display.
Well, actually, Clay, these are brand new aircraft that have just been delivered to Qatar Airways. They haven't yet seen service, so they are really brand new inside. And they have really a 5-star product on board these two airplanes.
And speaking of the airplanes, the Airbus A350 manufacturer serial number 2 has taken to the skies in its beautiful carbon fiber livery. Mike, we were admiring the beautiful silhouette and view of the A350 yesterday and its wings. Tell us what makes this aircraft special.
Well, I think, Clay, you can already see by this beautiful livery, which mimics carbon fiber. In fact, 53% of the aircraft is made from carbon fiber, which is a much lighter material than traditional aluminium, but it's also a material that doesn't corrode and doesn't fatigue, so it has a lot of maintenance benefits as well. These wonderful wings have the curled up winglets that you can see, which make it extra efficient. But what's really revolutionary about this aircraft is that the wing actually changes shape just like a bird that's soaring in the sky to adapt and reduce drag and reduce fuel burn, of course, for the airline and the benefit of the environment as well.
As we're enjoying the flight of the Airbus A350 XWB, we're also enjoying the work of the test crew. MSN2 today is piloted by test pilots Hugues van der Stichel and Malcolm Ridley. They are accompanied by flight test engineer Bruno Bigon. So Mike, you were talking about Qatar's A350 earlier today. I understand that now more than 100,000 passengers have had the pleasure of flying on the A350, including you. What are you hearing from the airline about the aircraft in operation?
Well, Clay, it's the number of passengers that we had have been outstanding. But what really prevails is that everybody's just so pleased and happy to be flying on the A350. The interior really reflects the level of service that our friends at Qatar expect. It's we have a 5-star product for the 5-star airline, and we've had nothing but praise, both from the airline and from passengers flying on board the A350.
This is, of course, the world's newest and most modern aircraft. Is there anything special about the A350 cabin that passengers will notice?
I think first thing that passengers notice is definitely the extra wide body. That's why it's called XWB. This aircraft is much wider than our previous cabin, but once inside it gives passengers a much more spacious, more comfortable feel. And they can really relax and enjoy all the latest amenities, including 4th generation in-flight entertainment system. First aircraft to have this as a basic feature, and really relax, enjoy the flight. Very, very quiet aircraft as well inside.
Speaking of quiet, the crowd here at the air show no doubt is noticing that conversations are quite easy to have as this aircraft is flying by. Is that due entirely to the engines?
I think it's a combination of factors. We have, of course, the world's most advanced aero engines flying today with the Trent XWB engine from Rolls-Royce, but it's also the aerodynamics of the aircraft that help keep it quiet and help make it neighbor-friendly for people who live in the vicinity of airports.
This beautiful MSN-2 aircraft will be visiting the Americas, South America and North America next month for a special tour, so our visitors in that part of the world should be on the lookout for specifics around those dates when we're ready to announce them. And Mike, this is the first of the A350 models to enter service, the Dash 900 model. What can we expect from the Dash 1000? When will we see that aircraft, the stretched version of this airplane, in service?
Well, the Dash 1000, we've already started work on the Dash 1000 with the first parts being produced. We're currently producing the first sub-assemblies, and all of those will be coming together to the final assembly line in Toulouse at the beginning of 2016. Of course, that will be followed by the flight test period, and we'll be seeing the Dash 1000 enter service in the middle of 2017.
As we said, this aircraft is in service with Qatar Airlines already, but we're expecting more airlines to put this aircraft into service later this year.
As Clay, we will be having our first Asian operator coming along very, very soon within the next coming weeks with Vietnam Airlines, who will take their first A350-900. And then they'll be followed this fall with the first Finnair aircraft, first European operator. And at the end of the year with LATAM, our first Latin American operator. So we'll be on all 4 continents by the end of the year.
A beautiful flight by Hugues van der Stichel, Malcolm Ridley, and Bruno Bigon. And as the A350 completes its landing roll, the Airbus A380, manufacturer serial number 1, is taxiing into position for takeoff. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the first A380 flight this year. And the flight test engineer who was on board, Gerard Desbois, was in fact a part of the crew for that first flight. He's joined by fellow crew members, test pilots Christophe Caille and Michel Bonifay. Airbus has received a total of 317 orders for the A380, and 162 are already in service. Mike, I know you've worked with the Airbus wide-body product for a long time. As the pilots are getting ready to initiate their takeoff roll, what do our pilot colleagues tell you about what it's like to fly the A380 versus some of our other products?
I think the thing that really stands out is that the A380 is another Airbus product, and therefore we get all the benefits of commonality. And what we hear back from our pilots is, you know, you could be flying an A318 and an A319 or A350, A380. They all feel the same. They all have the same handling characteristics, and that really is a positive point and a big benefit to the aircraft family in general, and even more so in our wide-body family with the 330, 350 and A380.
And Mike, you mentioned that other member of the Airbus wide-body family, the A330. There was a significant announcement at the Paris Air Show yesterday when an order that will make Saudi Arabian the first operator of the regional version of the A330-300 aircraft was announced. And for those of us who are the uninitiated, what makes the A330 regional a regional version?
Well, the A330 really is a very, very versatile aircraft. We have military variants with the tanker transport. We have long-range variants, including the 242-ton version, which is the longest range version that we have, that's just been delivered to Delta Airlines. But here, really, with the regional, we're putting back the A330 where it started, which is serving routes which are up to 3,000 nautical miles, or should I say 6 hours flying. And we're adapting the thrust of the engines, also looking at the cabin. Obviously, if you're flying shorter ranges, maybe you don't need such amenities as crew rests and that kind of thing. So really putting the aircraft back to its original role and making sure that it's really, really efficient. In fact, if you compare it to its 787 nearest competitor, you're probably looking at something like a 20% difference in cost.
And speaking of costs, as the iconic Airbus A380 takes to the skies, this aircraft is extraordinarily cost efficient for its operators and extremely comfortable for passengers. Mike, I understand that data show the A380 is really a passenger magnet, that people go out of their way to choose this aircraft when they have a choice to fly. Why might that be?
Well, there's only one thing I can say to that. If you've ever flown on an A380, it really is an unforgettable experience, and you're bound to choose an A380 the next time you fly. The A380 is capable of all sorts of different configurations. Of course, we've moved a lot. We're now focusing on the new trends in cabin interiors, full-flap business type arrangements, the emergence of the premium economy market as well. And today the A380 really is an aircraft that is designed to be able to accommodate all four classes, with first, business, premium economy and economy in high comfort, and extremely quiet and extremely efficiently as well.
A few years ago, we had the Korean Airlines A380 at an air show and welcomed visitors aboard. This year, Airbus has welcomed the Qatar A380 to the Paris Air Show, the 51st Paris Air Show. You've been welcoming visitors on board that. Tell us about that cabin.
Well, that cabin is truly amazing. I mean, walking through this super luxurious first class, going through the business class, they have an extremely large bar area for socializing, and through to economy, which yet again, you know, breaks barriers in terms of passenger comfort and offers really a very, very comfortable comfortable cabin, and probably the most comfortable cabin in the sky today.
Be sure to stay with us after the flying display, because we'll have a video with our new Airbus head of marketing, Francois Coudron, talking about the Airbus wide-body family, elaborating on a number of the points that Mike has just made. Mike, I love this maneuver when the A380 does it. Right on the edge of the flight envelope, a very low-speed pass. If you're at the show and you see it, the aircraft seems to practically hover. And what a beautiful sight it is against those puffy clouds and blue sky.
You can just see the vortices coming off the engines there as the aircraft is in its turn, with the condensation going over the wing. Beautiful sight, absolutely fantastic. Look at this maneuver, slow speed, high alpha. Really goes to show what an extraordinary machine the A380 is.
Indeed, that's not a maneuver that passengers in service will get to experience. But the Airbus test pilots know it well. The largest customer for the Airbus A380 is, of course, Emirates Airline. But my home country, the United States, is the second largest destination for A380 flights anywhere in the world. Mike, we talked about where people can expect to see the A350. If you wanted to take one of those A380 flights, what's your best bet?
I think many people think that the A380 is just limited to a small number of routes and airports, but in fact the A380 is already flying to more than 100 different routes to 44 destinations around the world. And in fact, every 3 minutes, somewhere in the world, there's an A380 taking off or landing somewhere.
And the 3 minutes must be up, because there was another beautiful A380 landing. Mike, I want to thank you for joining us here today, providing more insight into these beautiful products. We'll look forward to having you again with us here on Airbus Direct sometime soon. For those of you who are joining us from home or the office, we appreciate you joining us also here on Airbus Direct for the flying display and our live coverage of the 51st Paris Air Show. Please follow all the Airbus news from the Air Show on Airbus.com or on our Twitter feed at Airbus, or of course Facebook. Please continue to send your Airbus photos marked with hashtag #WeMakeItFly, either on Instagram or Twitter. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the same time tomorrow for Airbus Direct's coverage of Day 3 of the Paris Air Show. Meanwhile, we invite you to stick around for a few more minutes for a video with more insight on the Airbus wide-body family. We bid you adieu.
It's actually the most modern, reliable and efficient family. And this is essentially due to, I could say many things about it, but I would focus on the 3 main attributes. One is the market coverage. So when we combine the 330, the 350 and the 380, we have the most extensive seating capacity coverage from 200 seats up to 500 plus. And the same aircraft combined gives us the best range coverage from medium haul to long haul type of operation. So that's market coverage, first attribute. Second, comfort. Thanks to all our cross sections, we can offer 18-inch seat width with great economics across the product, across the family. Our competitor needs to go down to 17-inch to deliver the same economics. And eventually last, the third, I would say the third family touch comes from you surely remember the old days of Airbus, the fly-by-wire, and this has really enabled the family touch and the family concept, and that has enabled us to deliver the cross-crew qualification, the famous CCQ. So this is where the customer gets cross-commonality across the different aircraft. Thanks to these three different attributes, I would really conclude that we have the most modern, most efficient and reliable wide-body family. It is really essential for us to stay at the leading edge of the technology and really answer the market needs and expectations. So what we do, well, if you take the 350, for example, is the best demonstration that Airbus is fully capable of bringing a brand new product with new technology from scratch up to delivery on time, on quality to a customer. You take the 330 Neo, it's a different way of approaching the innovation where we do incremental development to bring faster, quicker changes to the customer. And eventually, if you look at the 380, since its entry into service, we've continuously improved the product for also the benefit of our customers. So thanks to all these different innovative and technological approach or innovation approach in the technology, we're confident that we remain the leader in the wide-body family.